Hello, and hello, Antonio. Thank you. You're ready, man. You're here. um, Sorry that I'm late. Uh, in the mornings, us teachers were busy from lesson to lesson to lesson, and I had a lesson that finished at 12 o'clock, but I needed to go to the bathroom, so here I am. Tony, very nice. Happy birthday to you. I'm sorry that on your birthday, Tony, do you have any plans? Because you can't go out, but maybe you have a Zoom party or a Skype Skype call. What are you gonna do for your birthday? Have some special food? Last weekend was my partner's birthday. His birthday is the 25th of April. And so we had a Skype party with some of our friends. We played games. Pictionary works very well with Zoom or with Skype because you can move the camera and you can draw pictures. So there's an idea for you. Um, I hope you can have a nice birthday. But we had gelato. I had gelato delivered to the house. We had ice cream and cake. So we did a pretty good job for a party. We also have with us, hello Flavia from Rome. Look at all these Rome people. Nice. Antonio and Flavia from Rome. um, and Alice from Treviso. Nice. Nice to see you guys. Um, I'm happy today. I'm in a good mood. Um, so you guys, I recognize most of you. So welcome. Nice to see you again. I wish that, when this is finished and we finally are back in school, I wish that I could like know you guys. I could teach you guys. It's really nice to I recognize all I know of you are these pictures. Like, Antonio, I recognize this photo of you. And Flavia, I know this photo of you. I recognize you guys, but I don't know you. It's too bad. Um, Anyways, just my quick introduction. So I'm Seth. I'm from the United States. Um, I am 37 years old. This morning, I thought that I would change. During quarantine, I have uh, I let my mustache grow quite a lot, actually. It was getting really annoying, and so I shaved it today. I look at myself in the screen, and I feel like I look very different. um, we have one more person. Hello, Bruno from Milan. Bruno, what school are you from? Because I teach at Milano Meravigli. Are you from? I don't know if I know you or not. Are you from Filzi or Montenero, or do you study at Meravigli? I also usually teach in the morning, so maybe if you come at night, I don't know you. Um, don't worry, Alice. It's okay without a photo. For me, you're just a small blue dot. That's all that you are. Don't worry. Um, oh, well, Bruno, do we know each other? Have we had lessons before? It's possible. We have lots of students, I think we have 800 or 900 students at our school. A lot of people. Um, Let me put up here our lesson today, talking about the environment. I would say in particular, maybe with this lesson, I was reading the other day, um, excuse me, maybe in addition to what we'll do in the lesson, if you've noticed during the quarantine, if you see changes in the environment, I was reading some articles how in it particularly these articles were about Italy, and like so in Cagliari in Sardinia, there have been dolphins in the port of Cagliari, and that doesn't usually happen, because there are no boats coming in and out. So the dolphins have come in, and also in is it Burano in Venice? There are swans in the canals that usually are afraid because there's so many people. And even in Venice, the canals are very clear. The water is beautiful, actually. It's and because there are no boats, so all of the sand and the dirt has settled in the bottom of the canal. And I even noticed where I live. I live in Milan, in the city, um, but I'm looking out my window over here. This is where, but I just noticed, um, well, two things I've noticed. One is a lot more birds. I hear a lot of birds, and also, I live in that part of Milan called it's like near Lambrate and like Linate. So I'm sort of on the edge. I'm in the city, but sort of on the edge, let's say. And so the countryside is not too far away. In a few kilometers east of here, it becomes farms. And sometimes if I go out on the balcony, I can smell the farm. We call it manure. I can smell manure. It's not a nice word. It's the word we use. It's kind of a strange word. Manure is it's the poop, the excrement from the animals that they put on the field, fertilize the fields. So, and where I live, I'm from Ohio in the United States, and we have a lot of I live in the countryside, and this is a smell. I know this smell from my childhood, and it's very interesting to me. Like here I am in this big city, but I go out on my balcony, and it smells like my home. It smells like earth. It smells like dirt. A few comments from you guys. Antonio says, "I feel exactly the same. Seth, I had to cut my beard. However, my hair is not a problem." You're buzzed. I'm looking forward to the barber shops opening. I'm looking forward to the barber shops opening. For me, I did it at home. Was it last weekend or maybe 2 weeks already? We cut our hair here at home, getting a little crazy again. And Alice says, I'm from Venice. My sister lives there. She told me that Venice is magical right now. No tourists, quiet and I bet it's beautiful. I love Venice. It's such a special place, And my favorite thing to do when I go to Venice is to try and go to the places, if you're in like the San Marco, right in the center, it's crazy. But to try and go to the edges of the island, you can still find maybe some small places where there aren't so many people, and you feel like you are in another time. Even in Milan, the last time I went out in February, I went out one day to the dentist, and the city, there's nothing happening, and I rode my bike from my house into the center of the city, and it was really, really nice. There were no people. And, to ride my bike across Piazza del Duomo, and like the piazza was mine. There was no one in the piazza. And the buildings feel old. It was really cool to me. Um, you could feel like the history of the buildings because the city looks, all the buildings are very old. They're a few hundred years old, these buildings. And so to have the people be gone, it was so easy for me to imagine, wow, these buildings have been here for so long. Duomo's been there for what, like 1,000 years? Um, you guys continue. Alice says, actually, the videos of dolphins in the lagoon that circulate, oh, from last summer. Well, that's nice. So even last summer, the dolphins were there. That's good. But the dolphins are present in the lagoon. And canals seem so, because the ships don't, yeah, they don't move we don't want backdrop. We want this is the same word in Italian, the fondo. This would be a backdrop, right? Backdrop is like more of a theater word, the thing behind us, backdrop. When we're talking about the water or the sea, we just say the bottom of uh, the bottom of the sea, or the floor. We also call it the sea floor or the lagoon floor. So we'll use the same word that we use in our house. Um, uh, I don't want to destroy the idea that the world is that, but yeah, I hope that as we continue, when we start to open, that I mean, I know that the industry and economy has to begin again, and that's important, but I hope that somehow we can maintain a little bit of I don't know, like in Venice, I don't know, like can the big cruise ships not come so close to the lagoon, you know, or can we do something to try and let nature be a little more nature? So um, yeah. But these are the things I would like you to share with me as we will do this lesson. But if at home, if you guys have seen nature changing, um, if you've noticed things, or if you have any specific thoughts um, about about this, like what? Whoops, sorry, I'm going crazy here. I've added all these things. I'm gonna write a question for you guys. Have you seen nature changing around you during? There we go. Okay. There we go. I have my question for you. Uh, okay. There we go. Share, and we're good. Okay. So we'll get started now. Protecting the environment. What we have here today, whoops. Um, it's a nice, there's kind of a little bit of everything here. So discussing the environment in general, and then we'll look at some of, so these connectives. So connectives are the words that will connect two ideas, right? And probability phrases. So there's a bit of nice grammar in here. Hopefully we get to it, but also talking about environment. So please answer as much as you want, as much as you can, participate, answer, share your stuff with me. So first, some questions. So protecting Mother Earth. We often use that in English, Mother Earth. Are there any environmental issues that you feel strongly about? What actions do you take to protect the environment? What more can be done to save the planet? So please share any answers you have. And I'll use your answers to help my conversation. The first one, are there any environmental issues that I feel strongly about? In general, I try to do my part. Um, in my house, I pay a little more for like organic or biological products. When I can. So, and we try to buy things that are, maybe made from recycled materials. We recycle, obviously. So, like in my house, all of the soap that we use for our clothes, in the washing machine, and also the soap we use to clean the house, to clean our house, and also the soap in the dishwasher, and even a lot of the soaps that we use for our bodies are like biodegradable. They're made from plants. So already we're trying to not always be putting into the water supply chemicals. This is one thing we do. Of course, we recycle. I try with food. I mean, I don't think I probably could do better with this, but I try to, we often will say in English, to reduce waste. So if I make a lot of food, especially like fruits and vegetables, you have stuff that's left over, but you can still eat it, So like, for example, when we eat pumpkin, if I eat a pumpkin, we save the seeds, and you can put the seeds in the oven and cook them and eat them. So we try to eat as much of the products of the food as we can. Even with carrots, if you buy carrots, if the carrots have the green part on the top, you can eat that. It's quite bitter, but if you mix it with like olive oil and salt and some spices and even a little bit of sugar, you can make like a sauce, we would say like a dressing, salad dressing to put on maybe roasted vegetables. So if you roast the carrots in the oven, you can save the green part and use it to try to eat everything so that we don't have a lot of waste. And of course, I do recycle as well. Let's see what you guys have here. Flavia says in general, okay, so where you are in Rome, you can notice less noises, or just less noise. It's kind of the same from the street, horns, buses, etc. I live in the city center, and now it seems to be in the countryside. In Rome, especially, you have so many tourists. I would imagine that there's always a lot of movement in Rome, and now probably really nice to see Rome in that way. Next week, when you can start going out, Flavia, you should walk through the historical places. Like go to Piazza Navona and you know Piazza del Popolo, these Piazza di Spagna. Go to the places where normally it's full of people. Try to see those places empty. I bet it's beautiful. I bet it's really, really wonderful. My boyfriend calls me a maniac because he hates when people because you hate because I hate when people leave the mixer tap. What do you mean the mixer tap? What's the mixer tap? I'm trying to think what you the water? The tap, a tap is sometimes, like on your sink when you turn on the hot and cold water, we can call that the tap. Is that what you mean by the tap? Um, okay, just the tap. You can just call it the tap. We can just call it the tap. I always close the tap, even in bars and restaurants. Yeah, it's important. You have to close it. Or the faucet, also the faucet. Very good. um, uh, if I see so these are strange words. So it's understandable that they're confusing. I have no idea. Actually, rubinetto I know in Italian, but I would forget this word. They're not words we say very much, are they? Um, yeah, so you wrote, I always close the tap, or sometimes we'll even say turn off the water. Some people use close, not too many, mostly turn on the water, turn off the water. So I always turn off the water, even in pubs, bars, and restaurants. If you see, um, if you see a faucet or a tap that drips, yeah, exactly. Those are the right words to use, Alice. We have a word. Maybe you guys know the word a leak. A leak is when a little bit of water is coming out, right? Your ceiling also, this would be a problem. But if you have water coming into your house from the ceiling, we would say my ceiling is leaking. So to leak or a leak, and then the adjective is leaky. So Alice, you're talking of, or Flavia rather, sorry. No, Alice. Alice is talking about a leaky faucet. So a faucet or a tap that the water bloop is dripping. Exactly. Good words. And you turn them on. I do this too. I do this too. Important. Important. Flavia says, I try to do my part recycling as much as possible using reusable bottles and tote bags, using public transport. You can just use transport, singular. It's like sort of uncountable for us. Nice. Good, Flavia. Bruno says, I think that unless man stops polluting, the planet is in danger of being ruined forever. I agree. Unfortunately, it's kind of, I read an article about this. I think they were calling it, there's this stress that people are feeling and about the environment because it's not, it's such a big, we can each do our little part, but it's so much bigger than you. I mean, it's a really big issue that everyone needs to be participating in. And this article was using the word, and I've heard this a bit lately, environmental malaise. So malaise comes from French, but it's like the anxiety, and people are feeling stress all the time because of the environment, you know. And it's true, like um, almost everything we do can help or hurt, you know. So trying to decide, do I take, I need to go to work, do I walk, do I take my bike, do I take the bus, do I take my car? You know, walking and my bike are the best. The bus is, you know, at least the bus is many people. Cars may be the worst, but when you think of time, you know, so there's a lot of, oh, there's so much to think about. Alice says, at the supermarket, I prefer buying things that don't have lots of packages. Yeah, sometimes, Alice, we might always also say that they don't have a lot of packaging. So packaging is like the general concept of the packages. Um, I've read, I think it's in the Netherlands and in some of the northern countries, Scandinavian countries, the supermarkets are slowly moving towards um, grocery stores with no packaging. You have to bring it, or things are in paper, and paper, of course, biodegradable. So, or things come in a container, like a glass container or a very sturdy, solid container that you can bring back. Maybe you buy something in some sort of plastic or glass container, but when you return, you bring it back, and I think they even give you a little, like a very small amount of money. So, you know, maybe like 2 cents, which to me it's all good. It's helpful. To me, it's important. I mean, I know people have different ideas about it, but I think it's really important. Yeah, so in my house, back to this question number one, we do, actually, this is question number two as well. Um, we do a lot in my house. Even with clothes, I've been trying to, when I buy shoes, um, when I buy clothes, you know, in general, trying to look what they're made of, because I've been reading a lot. I have a friend who's very careful about clothes because, you know, the clothes, when we have clothes that are made of synthetic materials, many people don't know this, but when you wash those clothes, they fall apart, but at a microscopic level. So when you wash like a synthetic sweater in the washing machine, really small fibers come off of the sweater, but they go into the water, and they don't biodegrade, you know. So then and basically eventually they make it to the ocean. And so there's all this, the microplastics, maybe you've heard this word, microplastics. There's all kinds of stuff floating in the ocean, and it's doing all kinds of horrible things. The phrase I was just thinking, to do horrible things, this is something, these are nice words, to wreak, strange words, so I thought I'd share them. Um, to wreak havoc means to create a very, very bad situation. So, you know, in the sense of, like Alice says, detergents. Yeah, so all of these detergents and microplastics, they're very, very small, but when they all come together, they wreak havoc. They create a very big problem. Create a very big problem. It's true. You gotta think of this stuff. So the third question then, what more can be done? I think a lot needs to be done. We have to think about fossil fuels, you know, so we have to think about fossil fuels. I believe these are similar in Italian. Fossil fuels are those um, things, coal, you know, so the products, these that come from the earth, and they're made from fossils, right? So they're made from the dinosaurs. Oil and coal. We need to find ways. We have to find other ways. You know, hydroelectric power, solar power. Um, We have to find some ways to fix these things. We're putting too much carbon dioxide into the air. A lot of things to do. All right, I'm going to go on. Here we have some words, you guys. Some nice words for um, some environmental words. Okay, so we want to take these words and put them into this. First, I will read it. I encourage you at home if you guys want to begin inserting the words. So here we go. Environmental activism. Dr. Suzuki is a Canadian scientist and environmental. He is passionate about the environment and consequently has dedicated his life to the earth and others to live more lives. He believes that unless individuals commit to living lives, the world will become more and dangerous. Despite the damage that has already been done, Suzuki believes that if individuals make efforts to lessen their our quality of life can be improved. Over here we have the words, so persuading, protecting, activist, greener, toxic, sustainable, environmental footprint. These are words that we're hearing a lot right now. Useful words, both these red words, but also just pay attention, you guys, to how these sentences. The environment is a big topic right now. So these are very current, useful, and yeah, really active words. Words we're using a lot in English. I see a lot of answers being given, so thank you for that. And here we go. So we have the first ones. Dr. Suzuki is a Canadian scientist and environmental activist. A lot of you guys, you're all giving me the answers. So is passionate about the environment and consequently has dedicated his life to protecting the earth and persuading, yeah, persuading others. A lot of you are saying these answers already. Persuading others to live more, I would say, yeah, sustainable lives. He believes that unless individuals commit to living greener lives, uh, the world will become more toxic and dangerous. Despite the damage that has already been done, Suzuki believes that if individuals make efforts to lessen their environmental footprint, quality of life can be improved. Great job, you guys. All of you were sending the answers. Thank you thank you for doing the activity for me. Um, if you have any questions, you guys, about these, please do ask. Okay. Um, any doubts or confusion about what they mean, how they're used. The red words, the vocabulary, but also anything else. Any questions at all about how these words are being used or what they mean, please ask. Please ask your questions. This last part at the end, our quality of life. I watched recently. I like to watch on TV. I do enjoy watching environmental documentaries with animals and things like this. And I watched a really beautiful one on Netflix. I think it was called Earth or the planet Earth or something, but it was showing how in certain places on Earth, certain governments in certain countries have really tried to protect specific animals or specific areas of their nation. So maybe there's a beach or something that's very special, and they've tried really hard to protect it. And the crazy thing is, like, when nature can flourish, when nature, when people, and it's usually people, unfortunately, who destroy, when things are protected, nature goes crazy. It recovers and it returns 1,000 times. So we don't have to do a lot, in a certain sense, to help. It's just, I think as that humans, we have forgotten that the earth is not ours or part of it. And when we have an attitude of we can just take and take and take, we take too much. We're greedy and we're jealous about taking. But when we take what we need and no more, nature does fine. Nature comes back. But the trouble is, like, I know with fishing, I'm very careful about the fish I eat, because humans are taking too much from the oceans and from the sea. And Italians, you love your seafood, but be careful, you know, we're eating too much. We're eating too much of it. And I don't know. I try also to, like I live in the north of Milan, and so, or the north of Italy. And so there's a lot of foods that don't come from here, you know? So like salmon, for instance, like salmon is, we have to go far away to get salmon. We have to bring salmon from Scandinavia, from like the Faroe Islands or from Alaska. That's too far. I love salmon, but I don't need to eat it, right? If I travel to Norway, then it can be something special for me. But here in Italy, around Milan, we have persico, right, which is perch. We have in the Mediterranean, we have certain fish. I don't know what these fish are in English. Branzino, orata, these fish that are local. Eat those fish. They're from here. That's what I try to do, to try to eat local as best I can. It's important to me. Let's see, you guys. First, Flavia has a question. To lessen is a synonym of reduce. Yes, it is. Where is that, Flavia? Let me look. Towards the end. Yes, to reduce and lessen, exactly the same. Good job, Flavia. Bruno says we can all leave a positive environmental footprint if we respect nature. Yep. And we can all. Oops. Oh, fixed it. Thank you, Bruno. You fixed it. Alice says, I don't eat meat anymore. It's been present perfect. It has been almost a year. I would love to know more about how livestock destroy our world. Yeah. I have decided here in my house, we have become flexitarian, sort of a catchy word right now. From Monday to Friday, in my house, we don't eat meat. From Monday to Friday, I'm vegetarian, and on the weekend we can eat meat. We don't go crazy, but so maybe on the weekend, if I go to a restaurant or something, maybe I'll get some meat, because I do think it's important to eat meat. But in general, also in my house, I'm half vegetarian, half carnivore. Yeah. But the thing I find, Alice, maybe if you miss meat, it's true that meat needs a lot of resources from the earth, lots of space, excuse me, lots of water, lots of food. But for this reason, when we buy meat now, I pay for it, but I buy meat that is organic meat. So it's from farms where the animals are being cared for differently. But also, I find a few things about meat now. First, when you buy good meat, taste it. It tastes good. It tastes good. It tastes different. Like I like Ese Lunga. I have no problem with a big grocery store, with a supermarket. But the meat being produced for supermarkets, it's produced in a different way. It's industrial. And if you buy a special, from like a macelleria, from a butcher shop, um, from a place where the animals are being raised in the open, they taste really good. And so then to pay more money, I don't mind. I don't mind. Uh, and also because vegetables are cheaper, All week I'm only eating vegetables, so I have some extra money so that I can buy good meat. Maybe that's something at home you guys can think about. Become flexitarian, become vegetarian. Um, and seafood, like I said, with seafood, I'm really careful. I try to buy things from Italy. I buy food that's made in Italy because I want to, well, it helps Italy, but also um, in terms of my environmental impact, my environmental footprint, I'm staying close to home. Alice says, when people talk with people, they say, yeah, this the way you wrote this is perfect. When you talk with people about being vegetarian, they tell you, oh my God, how do you? It's true. Italians love you guys love food. Food is so important to you, and I know that because I talk to my Italian friends about this a lot, and like your food, Italian food, even the quality of your food is very good. It's very high, and Italians, you know this, um, but yeah, we don't need as much meat as we eat. Vegetables are fine, and beans and we call them legumes, right? So like the beans, yeah, beans and chickpeas and those things too are sufficient. Eggs, there are other things that we don't always have to be eating meat. All right, few more. You know what? I'm going to jump by this because you guys did really well with it. I don't think that we need to review them. And so I'm going to skip over that and go to a few more questions. Actually, these questions go really well with what Alice was saying about being vegetarian. So the question, do you think living a green life is easy or hard? Why? So green, of course, we understand to mean living biologically, organically, in a thinking about the environment kind of way. Really popular word right now. What would persuade you to live a greener life? What actions do you think affect the size of your environmental footprint? Do you think your footprint is large or small? Why? My partner works for he works for a magazine that talks a lot about the environment, and he's often telling me things. I think, oh my gosh, like there's so many things we're doing that we don't think about. Um, have any of you read about the the environmental impact of not of phones in the sense of the like this phone being made of plastic and glass, but the internet? The internet uses a huge amount of electricity. Electricity is made in a power plant, and the power plant is creating pollution. Um, it is crazy the amount of electricity that we use. Netflix, when you stream a movie, we don't think of it as pollution because you're watching right now, filming this video, and you watching this video, all of this is using electricity, and that electricity has to be produced, and it's producing um, pollution. There's so many things that um, there's so many things that we don't think about that we do all the time. Um, what does Alice say? Another comment, she says, there are a lot of reasons to change a little bit of our nutrition. You can choose only one of them and follow it. You don't have to become Taliban. That's a nice way of saying that. Like, you don't have to go crazy, right? You don't have to uh, become crazy severe. And it's true, though. You can change just little bits, little things. I At a school that I taught at a few years ago, a man came from, I think it's called Enel, which is like the environmental, it's a power company in Milan, Enel. Um, and he told us this. To me, I was like, oh my goodness. He told us that, okay, so like I'll show you. So this computer, or when you plug in the charger for your phone, because of the way those things are engineered, even when you don't have it plugged in to your phone, it is still drawing energy. Okay? So it's doing nothing. It's wasted energy. It's energy that is being taken, but it's not, it's doing nothing. And this man said it's very small amount of energy, but imagine, so if you have right now, if you have the plug plugged into your wall, but not plugged into your phone, there's a little bit of energy being taken. But now imagine if you're doing that and I'm doing that, and if everyone in Italy is doing that, everyone in France is doing that, so there's millions of cell phone chargers that are not physically plugged into a phone, but that are using energy. And he said that in only Italy, in just Italy, there is one power plant whose job is essentially to provide this energy that is not being used. Ah! So now in the eve, or like right now, my phone, when in the morning, like at night when I go to bed, I usually plug my phone in. So during the night, my phone charges. When I wake up in the morning, I unplug my phone, but then I also unplug the charger from the wall, because all day long, that otherwise that energy is being taken. We also, when we at night, we turn off the internet in my house. So when we sleep, our the router for the internet is turned off. We turn off the TV. We have the TV on we call it a power strip in English. So the bar with all of the plugs, we turn them off. So at night, um, we have, because even think on your TV, usually on your TV, there's a little red light. When your TV is off, there's a little red light. Like, why? So in my house, we're probably a little crazy about it, but we do it because to me it's important. I think it's important. So that's how some of the things I do. But yeah, at night when we go to bed in my house, we have two phones that are plugged in. We unplug our computers unless we need to charge our computer, but the TV is off. The refrigerator, okay, the refrigerator needs to be on. Um, but the TV, the internet, um, the microwave, we have a microwave that has a clock. So there's a microwave that's on, there's a refrigerator that's on, and there are maybe two phones plugged in, maybe one or two computers, but everything else we unplug and turn off. Yes. We try. Um, all right. I keep going for a moment. I have 5 minutes. I think we have time for this because you guys were really, really active. So one more little paragraph about my footprint, my environmental footprint. And these are the connectors, right? So these words that help us join ideas, very useful things. So first, they are apart from, as a result, therefore, despite, additionally, and unless. These words are a little tricky. In general, all of these words can filter down to words like and, because, and so. Those are the really basic words. These are a bit more poetic, more beautiful, more advanced, right? But in general, these words are and, because, so. We call them conjunctions. Flavia has asked, what is a hassle? A hassle is a problem, but like for you. So like, well, let's look at how it's used in context. Flavia, listen and we'll get there. So I am passionate about the environment. I already see you guys sending things. So Bruno says, therefore, I make efforts to live a green life. Even for me, I need to look at the sentence to think of it. So I think this is going to be despite. Yeah. Despite the hassle. So yeah, Alice has also said that hassle is like a problem, but it's a bit more than a problem. So imagine in this case, if we look at this sentence, Flavia. So despite the hassle, I sort and recycle my garbage. So it's not a problem to do this. It's kind of annoying. So a hassle has the idea of being something, you know, something I have to do. Other things that are a hassle are if you live like Flavia, you live in Rome. Public transport in Rome is a hassle. It's difficult, right? In Milan, during rush hour, traveling is a bit of a hassle. It's a difficulty. It's something kind of heavy that we have to do. Okay, so despite the hassle, I sort and recycle all of my garbage and I compost, excuse me, any food waste that I can. I see Bruno and Flavia and Alice have all said apart from recycling, very good. I also ride my bike to work instead of driving. It is raining. Yes, thank you, Alice. Unless, so when it rains, I don't ride my bike. This in general is me. I need to ride my bike more, unless it's raining. I am making my environmental footprint smaller and getting more fresh air. So this idea of I ride my bike and it does good things for me. So as a result of riding my bike, because I ride my bike, I am making my environmental footprint smaller and I am getting more fresh air. What's less? Additionally, I try to persuade my friends to make greener choices. So there we go. Nice job, you guys. These words are interesting because, like, we don't necessarily need them, right? These are words that help connect our ideas, so they make it easier for us to follow a conversation. But if we don't use them, um, like if you look at this paragraph and you think of this paragraph and you remove the connectors, it still functions, but it becomes it becomes difficult to follow, right? Like if we just look at it, I am passionate about the environment. I make efforts to live a green life. I sort and recycle my garbage. I ride my bike to work. I mean, so and if you think about it from a perspective, you guys are advanced students, right? When you first began English, this is how you spoke. My name is Seth. I live in Milan. I like pizza. But as we learn, we can begin adding these connectors because it's normal. And in Italian, you guys, in your language, you do it too. So now you say things like, hi, my name's Seth. For about this many years, I've been living here. Even though Milan is busy, I enjoy the city because, so these things happen sort of normally for us as we learn. Very good job. It is time for me to finish, you guys. Thank you very much for participating. It makes it a lot more fun to talk with you guys. So thank you for your comments. Thank you for participating. Maybe it is time for you to go eat lunch. I have one more webinar to do. I'm getting hungry. But again, thank you all, you guys. Have a good day. Tomorrow is the 1st of May, Labor Day. So maybe you get the day off. In quarantine, all kind of the same sometimes. But anyway, um, enjoy nature. Go look outside. Be more green. Thank you. See you guys later. Bye bye.